Welcome back to another episode of Chai Time. I'm Melina, and today I'm here with Adnan. Adnan, welcome to Chai Time. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. A little bit of issues with some sort of health, but yeah, I'm doing great now. Yeah,
Okay,
and
yeah.
Yeah, and today we have a really special guest with us, guys. Please welcome Sadia Babar. She is a public speaker and a fellow tech enthusiast, and she also has keen interest in AI and its role and impact on social development. So we will ask questions from Sadia in the creator segment, but my first question would be to you, Adnan, which is so the topic of discussion I nearly forgot is, can AI contribute to climate management? So that is the topic and it's really interesting. And my first question would be to you, Adnan, which is, do you think that AI can help predict the weather? And if that is the case, how accurate would AI be?
Okay. Kind of like interesting question, but also goes back to a very long history of weather prediction. The, I'm definitely older than both of you, and I know a lot more about weather-related contraptions and inventions and all these things. And um, Can a human predict weather? That would be the first question, and the answer is no, they can't, because we already know, right? I mean, it has gotten really much better, right? As in, of course, we can already measure temperature in most of the cases. It's reasonably accurate, and the more and more, I guess, sensors we add, the more um, accurate current weather we can predict, right? Almost to a 1 meter accuracy. Now the problem is that prediction is a loaded game. It's not an easy game, and of course, um, we got very good at it. But at the same time, often you would predict something and it would not happen, or it would happen completely different. Because again, planetary climate is a complex phenomenon. Even on local level, it's very complex. You can, guess in most cases, and in on a broad sense, it kind of sort of comes out to be right. And can AI? So I think the real question to me would be, can AI improve on that, right? Not can AI predict, because at the same time, we're already doing prediction. Um, if we start using AI, will it be better than um, what we're doing currently? And the answer is yes, it is likely to improve upon it. It is definitely, because AI is, as we already have experience, like at this point, it's not a matter of debate that AI can predict patterns a lot better than humans can, right? So, and I see it being applied already in the field. Of course, like the weather machinery, which includes humans that have a lot of jobs, is is not it doesn't change every day, so it's cumbersome, it's slow, and it will take a while, but I see that already happening, and I predict that it's gonna continue to shift from human trying to guess what the weather will be to machines or AI doing it more and more.
Okay. And what do you think would be the applications of AI in climate management if that is something that we can do?
So there are two different things, right? Climate, as we think about it, is a more like a long-term pattern of weather, or and weather-related phenomena, right? So it's not just weather, but other phenomena that relates to weather, um, such as hurricanes, storms, and a whole bunch of other things, like over the year, temperature going up, temperature going down, and all that, right? And that's definitely not an easy game, even in today, like with all the technology and everything. Can we improve weather prediction? Yes. In climate management, when we talk about it, the emerging field, which a lot of people are very interested in to understand, to improve, to work. And um, of course, the reason is obvious, right? It impacts us humans in so many different ways. Even the minor variation of a weather or climate pattern, let's say 1 degree going down or 1 degree going up, can radically change a lot of things that we. Everybody's interested, at least in the I would say broad sense. In the if you want to do something for the future, you have to think about, okay, what does the future look like in terms of what's the is something changing, and if it's changing, how to tackle that, how to continue to improve our life, make it easier, make it more um, advanced, but at the same time deal with if something is changing, how to deal with that, right? So the application is, first of all, of course, to understand the weather patterns or climate patterns, how they are changing over the year. If there's a change, how to deal with it, how to tackle it, how to um, um, understand whether what are the factors that are contributing to it, and incidentally, um, if we try to do something, is it having the impact that we're looking for, or is it not having the impact we're looking for? Then maybe we should keep on doing it or not. So I think, and again, going back, it's a new emerging field, right? The climate management is not something that historically humans have done it, right? We do stuff on a small scale, but now, as technology become more and more complex, and we get the ability, or at least um, the notion that we can play God with weather or climate, in that case, it may turn out to that we need almost like in the broad sense, a system that can help us navigate it, right? So we don't cause chaos.
Okay, yeah, understandable. And do you think that AI can process and analyze vast amount of climate data sets, and it can, extract some sort of meaningful insights and then identify patterns for us?
I think your question is the answer. Yes, that's what AI actually does, right?
Okay.
Weather patterns are basically just data, basically numbers, and that's what AI is very good at, to figure out patterns and predict what the next sequence in a pattern is. So that's not something that we need to question. That I think that's forgiven, and it is already being applied to analyze the data set. At least in the academia, it's heavily being used.
And you think that, okay, when it's predicting something, so in the upcoming sort of any event or any sort of climate issue, it would be used, and then they can implement that, and any upcoming sort of crisis can be, dealt with.
Um, so crisis response. There are two kind of crisis response, right? And the short-term crisis response, that if something is happening, if there's a disaster, a storm, a flood or something, we have to do real-time management. And AI can play a crucial role in it, but in a very different capacity. As in, first of all, preventing or minimizing the risk. If something is happening and you can identify early on, or you get some kind of prediction that it may happen, which means that you can deploy the tools early on to prevent it from happening, or at least minimizing the risk to um, to humans. Um, Now, in the long term, I think the role that I see AI playing is that um, um, actually coming up with and again, this is like more like a playing God, but coming up with a um, broad system that can simulate planetary weather, planetary climate patterns, and come up with some kind of prediction that we can, at least in the academia or in the labs, we can start. looking at and start thinking about that. Okay, how accurate is it? Does it make sense to take any action on it, or is it something that we need to work more on? And I'm not the first one, of course, to come up with this. This is something in the sci-fi realm for more than a century, like where we see this being playing in fiction. But I think we're at least in the next 5 to 6 years, we'll be ready to kind of build such a system that can do it on a planetary scale. It's definitely not going to be accurate or something we can take action on, but it is something that can help us um, safeguard the future, at least in terms of climate patterns.
Okay. And where do you think the technology comes in when it comes to climate management, like satellites and drones? Do you think they can assist in managing the climate?
So there are multiple. I mean, that goes without saying, right? Again, these are tools. There are tools in a very big arsenal. Satellites give us a lot of data, right? Satellite images,
Yes.
um, even temperature readings, and for low orbit satellites, you can even scan. So a primer to the weather or climate management is that weather or climate plays a crucial role on determining waterways, which play a crucial role in changing um, your terrain, basically how the earth looks like. And when that happens, things change radically, right? For peaks, you're gonna see a lot more snow, which can definitely change. And if there's a lot of water, it can also start flattening out. So the point I'm trying to make, that these are tools in an arsenal that can help us feed the data to such a system that can um, help us predict where is the Earth headed, right? We know about the last ice age, not because we took any reading, but we know from signals, right? When we start digging, or when you look at the formation of peaks, when you look at the movement of glaciers, all that tells us that, okay, an ice age happened, right, in the past. We don't know exactly, but we know it was a few thousand years ago, and we know that that was not the only ice age, right? So it happened. It's a concurrent theme that keeps on happening over and over, and um, for some people, like another ice age is due soon, right? And we don't know when that is. Will it be another 1,000 years? Will it be another 50 years? Or will it happen next year? We don't know any of these things. So these are important questions to ask, and important question to address, um, because we take it for granted that everything we have built and everything that we have is almost like invincible, right? We're almost conquered the nature, which is not true, which is very far from the truth. Any disaster, when it happens, we instantly see everything changing. Like the previously, like I think a few days ago, um, just a little bit of more rainfall in Dubai, and suddenly you see everybody panicking and running around, and all the cool machinery is like suddenly immobile and useless, right? So that's how unprepared we are, and in order to improve our preparedness, to truly become indifferent to these weather pattern, we do have to do a lot of things. So, to cut it short, yes, these are important tools in our arsenal. We do have to do a lot more imagery, a lot more, need a lot more real-time signals, and which incidentally also means that answer to your question is yes, of course, we need more satellites, more sensors.
Okay. And yeah, I also think that more discussions should also be, it should also take place about these sort of initiatives and these sort of things. And like we're doing in chAI, and we're talking about it, and with that, take an initiative to, have that sort of discussion, and then it goes on, and then people can, know more about it. So before we move on to the creator segment, I would like to ask everybody who is tuning in, they can ask their questions in the chat box and we can answer them as well. So moving on to the creator segment, Sadia, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm great. And I'm so happy to be here and to be having this conversation about climate change and how it merges and intersects with AI and technology.
Okay, that's great. So my first question to you would be, how do you think that AI can help manage and monitor the climate?
So again, I think as Anand very rightly said that AI and technology are very important tools in our arsenal when it comes to addressing climate change and climate management, monitoring, etc. All of those big questions that we have when it comes to climate. In my opinion, though, I believe that AI is and technology is actually very valuable because now we have like satellites, we have sensors, we have very access to very real time data that we don't otherwise have. So technology has made that accessible to us. We have like real time deforestation rates, we have melting data on like melting glaciers, waves, patterns, etc. And I believe that this real time access to data is something that's life changing. It's extremely valuable. And when we use this, we can actually predict future abrupt changes into our climate, into our climate management system, planetary system, etc. And this is why I think AI and technology is here to play a huge role when it comes to climate management.
Yeah, I agree with you. And other than that, the next question that I have for you is, there are possibilities of bias in algorithms as well. How accurate do you think AI can be in climate monitoring and management, considering the bias in AI algorithms?
So I definitely am of the view that AI can inherit bias because of the way it is inherently trained. It can inherit bias, and the way AI works is through data sets, which can also inherit bias, and through algorithms, which can also again inherit bias. When we're talking about data sets, let's see, for example, if we're using the data of only developed countries in an AI model, I don't think it will be reflective of the patterns of or climate patterns of developing countries. In that way, it can inherit bias and it can prove to be unuseful when we're employing it in situations in developing countries because we fed it the data sets of developed countries. And I think in this way, data sets can also inherit bias and cannot be useful. But when it comes to like algorithms can also be unfairer. This just means that, for example, we have an algorithm that's designed to maximize energy output from a solar farm. But since the goal is to maximize energy output, it can actually blindside or not look at the environmental damage it's going to cause. So I think in this way, scientists actually need to come up and have more diverse data sets into this conversation. They should also like establish more fairer algorithms. But also, I think thirdly, one thing that's extremely important is actually human oversight. We can't overlook the role that humans are going to play when it comes to AI and technology and climate management. Because human oversight is something that's extremely important when it comes to these conversations. So, human element and AI technology are going to go hand in hand when we're talking about climate management in the future.
Okay, yeah, I agree with the fact that, in the end, humans are the ones who have to keep an oversight on these sort of models as well. And what can you tell us about paleoclimatology? Do you think that is a concept that can help in making better AI models for climate management?
Um, yes, definitely. So paleoclimatology, in like very simple terms, it's actually the study of the historical context of climate. It's basically the history of climate and climate management and climate change issues, events that have all occurred. So basically, a very comprehensive history about climate and all of its aspects. And I think it's very, very valuable, the type of studies that have been conducted in order to understand our climate, how it works, what causes abrupt shifts in it. And I think when we are going to intersect paleoclimatology, which is the study of like historical context of climate, and we're going to intersect it with AI and technology, it's going to be an incredibly valuable asset because it's now going to tell us how to predict. how to predict future scenarios. But most importantly, I believe that paleoclimatology is going to be extremely important when it comes to understanding when to issue early warning or detection signs. Because I think technology is going to play a very important role in minimizing further climate disasters or risks, etc., by issuing us warnings or early signs, etc. How we can intervene into very earlier stages of a developing or an escalating climate disaster or risk. So yeah, I think paleoclimatology is extremely important when it's going to be intersected with AI and technology.
Yeah, thank you so much, Satya, for giving us your interesting insights. And before we wrap up, I would like to ask Adnan for any key takeaways that he would like to share.
Um, it's not an interesting discussion, right? We usually try to pick topics that are broad, have broad overreach, and good job on that. I'm very, I think this is an important discussion that needs to happen more and more of, because um, first of all, yes, we need more oversight, and we do need to understand um, how to utilize technology to do good, do good for ourselves, to future proof, and and the best way to do it, and to not get blindsided, is to take diverse views, to take domain specific insights into account when such a technology, even we are thinking about building such a technology. So yeah, definitely happy with how the discussion went.
That's great. And Satya, do you have any insights or key takeaways that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I think it's a very important topic to talk about. I think a lot of people get intimidated by AI and technology and how we're going to understand it. But I think we make it more relatable when we're talking about AI and technology in the context of human development and all of the topics that humans really care about. Their surroundings, their climate is something. These are like very important conversations to have. And people understand the role of AI and technology more when they can understand it being applied into contexts that they really care about. And so I think this conversation was incredibly important today and also very fruitful with all of the opinions and all of the questions. So it was really, really good and fruitful.
We're glad that you had a good time at chai time. And for everybody who has tuned in, I would like to say that please check out the Opus website. Our pre-sale is live, and a huge thanks to Adnan for giving us his great insights and his opinions. And the discussion was really great today. And we would love to thank Sadia, who joined us for the creator segment. Sadia was really good at discussing every ins and out of the topic. So thank you so much, Sadia. And for everybody else, we will see you next week for the next episode. And until then, please take care of yourself and have a great weekend. Have a great week, everybody. Bye bye.